Have you dreamed of bigger things for your life? Then you are in the right place. Each week, you will be given tips on how to change your inner dialogue, conquer your goals, and ways to step into a higher version of yourself. I'm your host, Lauren Kubat. I'm a motivational speaker who hosts personal development events. I'm a sought-after fitness instructor, a wife, and a mom of 2 young boys. I'm obsessed with all things personal development, and I believe anyone can achieve the life they want. Let the Become Your Vision podcast be the inspiration you need to step into greater things. Now let's go. Hi guys, welcome back to the show. Welcome to the show. This is the second time I'm recording this episode. I am recording this at the gym in the parking lot while my kids are in daycare. I have a half an hour before I have to get them. And to be honest with you, I started recording, this is episode 90, I believe, and I was so nervous. I still get nervous recording, and it's something I'm working through, and it's something that I have to practice. And one way of doing that is through affirmations, and that is something we are discussing today. I know that this time of year can be very challenging for a lot of people. It's after the new year. Maybe you were sick, like so many people. So I live in Charleston here. I had a cold and my throat was all scratchy, and I'm like, didn't had this planned for the new year. You don't plan on getting sick. I know a lot of people have been sick, and maybe you're feeling like post-holiday blues, and it's cold in a lot of places. So maybe you're not getting that vitamin D from the sun and you can't be outside. It's like this awkward time. It's like we just had the holidays, and now, especially if you're like in the Midwest or somewhere where it is frigid, you're like, okay, what do I have to look forward to? And you have a lot of things to look forward to, but it takes daily practice in reminding yourself of why your life is so good and how amazing you are. And even if you're going through a dark time, it takes little shifts in changing your thoughts, recognizing those negative thoughts when you are having them. And we're going to get into all of that today. First thing I want to say, though, is last week's episode with Heather McWright was amazing. I got so much feedback. Heather got so much feedback, positive feedback. She shared her story in all about intuitive eating and therapy. And long story short, if you haven't listened to that episode, go back and listen. But she was a professional dancer, and through that, she developed poor body image, and she shares how diet culture had made her feel a certain way. And when we are planning our New Year's goals, a lot of our goals are based on how we want to look and how we want to feel. And we can be so hard on ourselves. Right now, we feel like we are looking at our body through a magnifying glass because we're like, oh, I want to lose a certain number of pounds, or I want to gain more muscle, or I want to run faster, whatever it is. When we have those goals, and goals are great things to have, but sometimes we feel less than because of the pressure that we put on ourselves. So if you haven't listened to that episode, go back and listen. Also, I want to give a shout out to 2 listeners this week. I used to do this when I first started the podcast, and I haven't done this in a while, but these 2 people left reviews this week, and it means so much to me. I read them this morning, and I'm like, oh my gosh, a review came in, and it is so good for my ego. But this one comes from, another comment about episode 89. Killerman9189, episode 89, The Negative Effects of Diet Culture. What a great podcast about diet culture and how we perceive food. A must listen for everyone. And the second review is Jalen11, and this one is called Love This Podcast. He or she says, are you a wife, mom, businesswoman? Any or all of the above. Lauren knows all the things, but also knows how to connect with you. She is personal and a mama. She also has guests who are relatable to fitness and real life topics. I wait weekly for this podcast. Listen and learn. Thank you so much. And these reviews remind me of why I do this. And even when I show up nervous and I have to hit record again, whatever it is, it's like, oh, okay, I'm right where I'm supposed to be. And honestly, this podcast has been therapy for me, and I've learned so much about myself as well. If you are not subscribed to this episode, make sure you're doing that so that you are updated every time a new episode is released. All you have to do is there's 3 circles to the right of your screen. If you're on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, hit that button and hit subscribe. And it's not an annoying alert. Just when you go into your podcast app, it will tell you that there was a new episode so you don't miss any. And then also, selfishly, it helps me because if you're not subscribed, it doesn't show up on my downloads. So I don't know why, but I would really appreciate it if you subscribed. Okay, let's get into today's episode. It is all about affirming the life that you want. I was working with a client last week, and she was sick for the new year, and she's like, man, the new year didn't start off the way I had planned. And I know for a lot of people, it just didn't start the way you have planned. Maybe you were sick, maybe a child was sick, maybe you just didn't have the motivation. Whatever it is, I want to remind you that literally every single day is a new day. And just because the new year is like, there's so much, pressure on to start the new year right, I want to remind you that it's just a continuation of your life. Tomorrow can be a new day to start. Today can be a new day to start. Just because it's the new year doesn't mean, if it didn't start the way you had planned, doesn't mean it's going to be a bad year. You have the ability to change your mindset on how you view your year, your day, your life. So affirmations are something that I use all the time. And this was something I was working on with my clients this week. So an affirmation is just basically a positive sentence to affirm the life you want, a positive statement to reprogram your mind. And it can literally be done at any time. And I have to catch myself. I have to catch my thoughts. And the first step into creating the life you want, creating the habits you want, creating the thoughts that are going to serve you is catching the negative thoughts in their tracks. Because I don't care who you are. You can be Beyonce herself. She has negative thoughts. We all have negative thoughts. So it starts with recognizing that you're having a negative thought. For me, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I struggle with the thought that I'm a bad mom. This is something I've struggled with since my boys were born. So we have a 5-year-old, and our youngest turned 3 today, and I literally have to remind myself, and this is a practice that I'm putting into place, now, that I have to remind myself that I am a good mom, that even on my most irritable days, I am still a good mom. I always have the best interest at heart for my kids. There's never, ever a day that goes by that I don't tell my kids that I love them, that I don't kiss them, that I don't hug them. And that alone affirms that I am a good mom. And even though I make mistakes all the time, that doesn't make me a bad mom. So other thoughts that we have, especially, I'm a group fitness instructor, and I see the women that come in, and I see how they speak to themselves, and it's heartbreaking. And I do the same things occasionally. I have been in a really dark place before with my body image. It's something I have to practice every day, but a lot of thoughts that come up is, oh, I'm fat, or I used to be able to run and now I can't, or gosh, I have a gut and I have a belly roll that hangs over my jeans. And it's devastating. It is devastating to your ego, to your mental health, to speak that way to yourself, to have those thoughts. So if you are having these negative thoughts, I first want to remind you that it's normal to have negative thoughts, but you have the ability to change them. And when you do change them, you feel so much better. Hey, before we continue with the show, I want to talk to you about something that you might not think about too often, but it is vital in keeping you and your family safe, and that's insurance. In today's hectic world, we women have so many roles and things on our plate. Our to-do list seems to get longer and longer. Rachel Davenport, the principal agent at LH Griffith and Company, understands because she is a wife and mother herself. Rachel can assist you with all of your insurance needs, whether it is trying to find the best deals on auto insurance, helping select the most appropriate home insurance coverage, or helping you protect your family with health and life insurance. Rachel does it all. We know what a headache it can be to select the best insurance. So to save yourself precious time and energy, give Rachel Davenport a call today for all your insurance needs. Her number is 864-828-0579. That's 864-828-0579. Or find her on Facebook at Rachel Sells Insurance. All her information is in the show notes. Okay, back to the show. So let's go with the example. I'm so fat right now. I'm so fat. You're driving in your car and you're like, I'm so fat. I want to give you like a big hug and tell you you're not fat and you're more than your body. You have the capability to change that thought. You have the capability to feel so good about yourself. What is something that you could tell yourself right now that would support you on your journey? So if you're saying, I'm fat, a thought that you can change that to is, girl, you are trying so hard. You are more than your body. You have the capability to get up and walk and go to a workout class if you want to. You are more blessed than so many people. Okay, and it starts there. So like I said, with the example that I used was, I'm a bad mom. So I was having these thoughts every single night. I was feeling so defeated, like, you yelled at your boys today. You were impatient. You didn't want to hear that story. I had to literally go, Lauren, what did you do right today? What makes you a good mom? And then I had to say, okay, well, you told both the boys that you love them. You gave them hugs. You made sure that they were fed every single meal, and you packed snacks for them, and you made sure that their clothes were clean, and you helped them when they fell down, and you are providing a warm house for them, and you are showing them when you make a mistake that you apologize. And I had to literally go through the list of things of what makes me a good mom. So when you're saying negative things to yourself, like, I'm fat, tell yourself all the reasons why you are amazing. Why you're amazing. And there's so many things. And I know if you're in a dark place right now, you're like, I don't know. I can't think of one. Start by telling yourself that you've made it through hard things before, and you know that you can make it through hard things again. Remind yourself, like, hey girl, you're in a dark time right now, but you've made it through dark times before. How did you do that? And start questioning your thoughts. I want to give you some more examples of affirmations that I use and the ways that I put these affirmations into place. So lately, it has been my goal I feel like for the last several years, I've been saying this, to journal more. And I'll start and then I'll stop. I'll start and then I stop. I mentioned this on, I don't know if it was the podcast last week or the week before or whatever, but now I am putting a journal next to my toilet, and instead of scrolling through Instagram or Facebook, I am journaling. Yes, not totally sexy, but everybody goes to the bathroom, okay? And so now I keep a journal there, and I don't put pressure on myself to write for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. I'm like, literally get my thoughts out. Even if it's a minute or so, I get those thoughts out. I'm like, I journaled today. That is an accomplishment. I think sometimes we put these standards on ourselves, like, okay, in order for you to be successful at journaling, you have to write 20 minutes. In order for you to be successful at working out, you have to work out for an hour. And that's just not the case. That's just not reality. And when you set these high standards, you are setting yourself up for failure. Ask yourself, what is realistic? What can I get done today? So for me, putting a notebook and a pen next to my toilet and writing for even 30 seconds sometimes, that is good enough. So in my journal, I've been writing affirmations for myself. So I start with gratitude. I've been starting just with all the things that I'm grateful for. Even if I'm going through a hard time, I'm like, okay, what are you grateful? I'm grateful for a warm cup of coffee right now. I am grateful that I can listen to a podcast. I am grateful that I woke up today. I am grateful for my family. And it helps me when I get really specific. Like, I'm grateful that my husband told me that I looked good this morning because that made me feel good, whatever it is. So I start with that, and then I go into my goal or my intention for the day. And lately it's just been an affirmation to enjoy, to remind myself that I am a good mom, because at the end of the day, at the end of my life, my family means the most to me. And I want to be so proud of the mom that I am. So I want to remind myself, because your kids aren't always going to tell you that you're a good mom, especially when they're little. Yes, they say I love you and they hug you, and maybe they tell you that they hate you, or, I don't like you, mom. There are days like that too. My boys have said it. I don't like you, mom. I don't love you, mom. They're kids, right? Maybe you have a teenager. Maybe you have an adult child that's giving you a hard time. You have to tell yourself that you are a good mom sometimes. I'm just using this example because it is very prevalent in my life right now. And so that is part of what I put into the journal, is affirming who I am. And then the last thing is who I send love to. So this helps me think about others, and it just, it makes me realize that there are other people out there that, could really use some positive vibes or love or whatever you believe in, prayers. For me, I send love, I send positive vibes. So start there with your affirmations. You can start in a journal, put it on a Post-it, stick it in your car. I have one right now in my car that says love, because that is my word of the year. Love to me means that I need to love myself. And part of loving myself starts with the thoughts that I have and how I treat myself and how I show up for myself. Love also means that when I am having a hard day, it reminds me to respond in a loving way. So you can stick your word of the year, you can stick your affirmation in your car, on your mirror, like I said, wherever you're going to see it every single day. And then when you see it, like, it becomes your subconscious. Yes, you see it, you're like, okay, that's just a note that's there. But it becomes part of your subconscious. Some other affirmations that I have here, especially with the podcast or anytime I'm hosting a conference or when I am working with clients, one of my affirmations is I have a strong voice. I am capable. I was made for this work. I am beautiful. So come up with a list of affirmations, write them down, pick some of your favorites and put them on Post-its and stick them all around your house, stick them in your cabinets, wherever. And you have the opportunity right now to affirm the life that you want. And it starts with changing your thoughts. At the end of the day, you have to be your biggest cheerleader. You have to remind yourself, like, gosh, I got this. I know I can do hard things. I've done it before. Because you might have people in your corner, and I'll be completely honest, it becomes draining for them, because I've been there before where I've, talked to my husband and he tells me things like, you are a good mom, but it becomes draining for them to be constantly reminding you that you are a good person and you are capable and you are smart and you are courageous. You have to be your biggest cheerleader. You have to support yourself. And like I said, it starts with affirming the life you want. I hope this episode helped you in some way. If it did, please make sure that you leave a review. It would mean so much to me. Make sure you take a screenshot, share it to your social media. I have something fun for this. Why don't you take a screenshot of this episode and tag me on your social media with this screenshot and write your affirmation in a note there. So you can take a screenshot, tag me, and then go, my affirmation is blah, blah, blah. I would love to hear what your affirmations are and hear you manifesting it into your thoughts, into the world, and reminding others who you are. Thank you guys so much for listening. And remember, you got this. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you love this episode, make sure you are subscribed so you know when more episodes come available. My goal is to inspire others to become their vision, and one way to get the word out is with reviews. I would really appreciate it if you left an honest review on iTunes, and it would mean so much to me. Thanks again, and remember to go after the life you want. Bye, guys.